What's up, YouTube? This is Will here, and I'm making this video about my spiritual awakening, or my Kundalini Awakening. And so yeah, let's just get right into it. About 10 years ago, I got in a bad car crash that really changed my life fundamentally, and the results of that day, that car crash, kind of have led me to where I am at this moment, which is crazy. So what happened was, we were driving back. I went to school at Notre Dame, so I was driving back from Notre Dame to Boston for Christmas, my senior year, so it was 2011, and we left South Bend. It was like lightly snowing, some lake effect snow, and I fell asleep after a couple hours. And then I woke up, we were outside Cleveland, and my friend was yelling and the car was spinning out of control. And he had lost control of the vehicle, and it was like spinning, doing donuts in the middle of I-90, which is crazy. So considering it was like early Sunday morning, something like that, there was nobody on the road, luckily, and I just yelled, like, go, because he was like looking at me like, what the heck do I do? So then we just pulled as quick as we can out of the middle of the road into the side of the road. And as we were doing this, like, an 18-wheeler like whizzed right behind us as we just made it to safety. From what I remember, it was mostly a blur, but at some point an 18-wheeler like whizzed right by us, and it was still like snowing really hard. It was just crazy. And then we were like, what the heck just happened to us? So then we drove we got off the highway, we went to like a parking lot and just like looked at the car, saw some bumps on the side from like, because it actually hit the center median and like did this big spin. And then we're like, oh my god, we could have just freaking died. And then we like touched our bodies and stuff, and everything was okay. And like, we just drove the 10 hours or so back to Boston, just like spooked out of our minds, not even kidding. And yeah, it just was like a crazy impact, because then I was like, okay, I could have just died there, you know, I'm only like 21, 22, and you know, it made me really reconsider a lot of the decisions I was making in life, and like what I was focusing on, what I was putting my attention on and stuff. So I got back to school in January, and then I was like, I'm gonna do Bunga Bouts, you know, I'm gonna like do something cool. I'm gonna do something cool with my life. And like, Bunga Bouts is like this big boxing tournament thing that like raises money for Bangladesh, for like the Holy Cross priests there. And why did I think to do boxing was like a good life-changing thing? I don't know, because it's just boxing and it's not like life-changing or anything. But I was like, yeah, I like never really do anything. I never really step out of my comfort zone. I just like, you know, do standard things, and like, I don't really do anything crazy. So I was like, I'm gonna train, I'm gonna do this boxing. And it actually wasn't like life-changing in a good way. But it was life-changing in a way that turned out to be good. Because like, what happened was, we trained, and then in the tournament I won my first fight actually, and then my second fight was like really bad, and like this dude was like substantially better than me, and he just like beat the crap out of me, to be honest. And I was like bleeding, and I was like telling the ref not to stop the fight, because I was like so disconnected from my body, and I was so out of my body and like out of my feelings, that I didn't really know like what it felt like to be inside my body. And like, I had never really had like this big feeling, or like had like my full sensation in my body, and I didn't know that I was like literally being hurt and literally like bleeding and like getting punched and stuff, and like that I wasn't gonna win this fight, or this bout, so to speak. And I was just like devoutly telling the ref like, no, don't stop the fight, I don't want to like be a pansy or whatever, be a baby, as I'm in the garden. So that was like a big game changer for me, because I was like, yo, now I have this massive concussion, which I did have for a long time. I'm better now, but concussion was like a big changer, because then I just like kept getting concussions again and again, and I like couldn't stop getting them. And it was crazy, because like the boxing was the first one, and then over the next like 2 or 3 years, I kept like getting more concussions and having like more confusion and more just like dizziness and all these like issues with like my brain and like not being able to focus and stuff. So then I was having all these issues, and I was like, it kind of like took me on a different track because I wasn't able to, just like hop right into finance and like hop right into like a big banking or consulting job, because I was like, okay, my brain is like messed up. Like, then I ended up doing something called cranial sacral therapy, and like started going to this like woman who was like doing this cranial sacral therapy, which like moved all the fluids around my brain and really like kind of got all that trauma out of my brain and out of my like head, so it wasn't like just bouncing around. And when I was working with this woman, I also was able to do some like other therapy too, because like I realized that I really hadn't like talked about a lot of things that happened in my life, and I hadn't really been to like therapy. So this was like a good opportunity that just kind of like arose to like meet someone and like help my physical head therapy, and then also like help my brain therapy too, which is something that I really had like ignored in myself and in my life. Is I was just like, for so long I was like, no, I'm tough, like I'm not sensitive, like these things didn't hurt me for whatever like heartbreak or things happened in my life, or my folks' divorce, or just like different things happening in high school, or just the different things happening in life and in my family, and like my cousin dying and stuff, and like all these things, like a number of things. So doing the cranial sacral for my brain actually like brought me to start working with another woman that does like a different kind of therapy. And she, like, I worked with her for like a while, like a bunch of kind of, not a bunch of years, but like a lot. I worked with her a lot, and over this time I was working at a garden center for a little bit, and then I actually ended up working at Bank of America for a little bit, and then when I was working with this other woman for a time, she encouraged me to really like live my life to the fullest, and like not just like slide into what my parents or what society had expected of me, which is already what like the concussions had already like taken me off that journey. But it took me like a while to get the lawnmowers being loud, but it took me a while to like really sink into that, and I already had like kind of pre-programmed myself to work in banking, go to Notre Dame, work in banking, working in finance, which is like a great, it's a great thing to do, but it's maybe not for me. Get married, have like 4 kids or something along those lines, have kids, because that's what my parents did, and that's what like, other people did. And then, yeah, just like, do that. But I mean, like that was maybe not, that's not what I came here on earth to do, that's not what I came to this planet to do. I came for other, reasons. I have a different mission than just like do what my parents wanted me to do. With this woman, she kind of really encouraged me to live life to the fullest and kind of like awaken my love of traveling. So then I went to Peru and I started backpacking around Latin America, and I kind of happened, like I've actually never done any sort of like psychedelic or anything previous to that point in my life. Like I went to Notre Dame. I was like I wasn't very Catholic, but I was like pretty Catholic and like conservative, and like I smoked pot before a couple times, but I wasn't like, okay, the light's a little strange, but I wasn't like, I was like, I had a whole stigma against psychedelics. But I was in, so I was in Peru, and then I was working at like a permaculture place, because I was like doing farming and doing like this permaculture course, and then everyone there was talking about ayahuasca, and they were all into ayahuasca, and I was like, what is ayahuasca? And they were talking about like, these beautiful healing benefits of ayahuasca and like other sacred plants and these other medicinal plants, and talking about like their beautiful healing journeys that have happened when they were using these plants. And I was there with my friend, a girl, and she was like, we gotta try this, like we should do this. And I was like, I've never done anything like this, but I should try it. And so I tried it, and it was like super life-changing. Yeah, like way different than anything I've ever experienced in my whole life. Like I understood the whole meaning of life. I understood like why I was born, why I chose my parents, why I chose my path up to that point, you know, the order of the cosmos, you know, I understood like more my connection with my ancestors, my bloodlines through like Ireland and everything. And I just understood everything, you know. It was crazy. It was like a whole like just galactic shift in my whole consciousness, just one night of ayahuasca. I'm not even kidding. It was so profound and so life-changing, that happened there in Peru. And yeah, it was beautiful. So yeah, pretty much since then, like, my life has never been the same. I guess it's just like more and more levels of shifting. You know, first I had the car crash, and then I was like, okay, I'm not gonna waste time anymore. And then now I have the ayahuasca that I've done that, and like my life just keeps like shifting to these higher and higher levels of vibration and consciousness, and like different awakenings that are happening. And yeah, it's a really beautiful process, and I'm just like learning to let go and learning to like kind of trust the process and not like have everything like controlled and scheduled and like set up, and like, you know, just kind of learning to go with the flow and embrace new experiences. And you know, spiritual awakenings or Kundalini awakenings are super uncomfortable. You know, they're not like in the comfort zone. And I feel like this one for me, it was kind of like thrust upon me. Like, I didn't like choose to get in the car crash, and then all of a sudden I had these concussions, and it was like unavoidable. So I couldn't like avoid this whole awakening process. But you know, now that it's like underway and still happening and has happened, like, I'm really happy, because it really pushed me to expand in ways that I probably wouldn't have done if I just like had continued, you know, doing what I was doing. So that's that. This video is getting a little bit longer than I had, you know, anticipated, but yeah, please let me know if anyone else has had similar experiences with, you know, concussions, spiritual awakening, ayahuasca, these cool things. I would love to, you know, see what you guys think of this. And yeah, thank you.